Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in the last couple videos that I did, I had talked about my whole relinquishment story. And as I was going through editing it, I realized I didn't even mention anything about the agency and how I was treated by the agency or what happened with the agency, because that's a whole story in itself. So today, I'm going to be telling you about the adoption agency and how that all transpired for me as well. I probably won't cry as much as I did the last times, just because I did that all in one sitting, and this is a fresh new day. But you never know, so let's get started. And before I get started, I'd like to introduce myself for those who may be new here. My name is Kat Davald. I'm a 47-year-old birth mom, and I am in reunion with my 31-year-old daughter. She's about to be 32 in a couple weeks, but I still peg her at 31. And we've been in reunion for about 3.5 years now. So, just kind of picking up where I left off with my whole relinquishment story. I don't know if you recall or if you watched those parts, but my employer at the time, I was 15 when I gave birth. So my employer at the time, I worked at a small consignment shop, and she is the one that, pushed adoption. She just, this is your option. This is what you do. My niece did it. Great, great, great. And she was the one that referred me to this agency. So, it's the one that her niece went through, and, it worked out great, blah, blah, blah. And now I don't remember how the appointment came about. I mean, I must have called them, or maybe she called them and set up an appointment. I don't know. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember that part. But it is the agency that I ended up going through. At the time, they were called Catholic Family Services. Now, today, they are known as Catholic Charities. And I know that a ton of people have gone through Catholic Charities as well. Now, I'm not even Catholic. I was raised Protestant, and at this point, I'm agnostic. I don't have a religion. I don't practice a religion. So I don't, follow any particular faith or anything like that. But I don't even know if the Protestant church had, adoption services. But anyways, I went through Catholic Family Services. So I don't remember the first visit or any actual visit in particular, except for one, and I'll get to that. So I'll just go through and tell you what I do remember. Now, mind you, I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 7 months pregnant. So this all transpired within like a 2-month period, maybe even a month and a half. Because I know school kicked me out in the end of February. So probably when I went to the Catholic Family Services is probably already March already. So March, April, she was born May 7th. So literally it was 2 months. So let's start with my counselor. Therapist, because that's what they used to call it. Counseling and therapy. But it was coercion. And that's not even, no quotes for coercion. It was coercion. It was their weekly meeting to make sure that I gave them my baby. Marianne was the lady's name, who was my counselor. She seemed nice. She wasn't mean to me or anything like that. But she was young. I remember her being young. Certainly younger than I am now. I'm 47, and she, if I'm remembering correctly, she was probably late 20s, early 30s, somewhere around there. I remember her having dark hair and, just average looking, not, excessively pretty and not ugly or anything like that. She was just, a lady, and at 15, somebody older like that. It's just a lady. I do remember her asking me at one point if anybody was forcing me to make this decision. And I didn't know this lady from Adam. I didn't know anything about her. She didn't know anything about me or my family or anything like that. But I was petrified of my parents. I wasn't petrified of her. So I told her no. I certainly did not tell her everything that transpired at home. I didn't tell her that, I wanted to keep my baby. I mean, because there was no choice for me. Even if I said that I wanted to keep my baby, what was I going to do? There was no choice. And she didn't offer at any point during any of these meetings an alternative. That was the only time that she asked me. And honestly, I think that it was just from a legal standpoint that they had to ask, because mind you, this was 1990. So I think, there was some type of laws or something in place where they had to ask stuff like that, just to cover their butts. But there was never any alternative or anything offered to me that, if you want to keep your baby, we can do this and that and third. It was just, is anybody forcing you to make this decision? No? Okay, good. Let's go. So, I had the wrath of my parents to deal with. If I, made any other decision or anything like that. And then I also had Maksud, who, if you watched that video about him and when I told him and everything, he wanted me to get an abortion at 7 months pregnant. So, he wasn't helpful. I mean, he was basically gone at this point, and I was going to all these counseling meetings alone. I had nobody there with me, no adult representation, nobody to support me, nobody to say it's wrong what they're doing, nobody to say, let's look at other options, nothing. There was absolutely nobody in my corner, including this agency. So after that, and I know that question was way in the beginning when I first started coming to these meetings and therapy sessions. So after that, what transpired was complete manipulation and complete coercion. I know it now because I know what coercion looks like. I know what the definition of coercion looks like. So let's get into that part. So I was told that I can choose an open adoption. I was told that could be any amount of things that I want in any direction. Again, this was 1990, so open adoption was very new. So I was told that I could get visits with my baby. I was told that I could see her, and see how she's doing. I was told I can get pictures and updates and communication and all types of things. Everything was offered to me. So that's what I chose. That's what I wanted, because I didn't want to give my baby up, so I wanted to know her. I wanted to see her. I wanted to see her grow and know what she looked like and sounded like, and I wanted to have a relationship with her. So that's what I chose. And again, I think that was only offered to me out of obligation. I don't think the Catholic Church, or Marianne for that matter, really wanted to have to deal with the paperwork and the amount of work that comes with having to keep me updated and match up visits and everything like that. Even though that they could be out of the loop at this point, maybe they just, I don't know. So they also told me that I could choose the parents, and I can meet them beforehand, and I can, make the decision that everything was whatever I wanted. I could choose whatever. Everything was based off of my decision, right? We hear this all the time. In my birth mother groups, when these new moms come in who've just given up their baby, and then, they were promised the world and everything, and then they come in and 3 months later, a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, it's all changed. Boom, doors are closed. And everything is just taken away from them. Not all the time. I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of the times, yes, that's what we do here. It wasn't so, it doesn't seem to be so abrupt like mine was, because I think that, that I was just taken complete advantage of, because they knew I had no representation. They knew that I had nobody looking out for me, so that they could do whatever they want. They got a winner. I chose all of that. I chose to choose her parents. I chose to meet them. I chose to have an open adoption. I chose to get updates. I chose to see her. I chose it all. I wanted it as open as possible. I wanted to know my child. That's not what ended up happening. After I had that therapy session, I was given a big binder, and within this binder were sheets of paper. It was just sheets of paper. There were no pictures. There's no stories or anything. And I remember it just being like super, super basic information. Things like hair color, eye color, ancestry, like Irish, Italian, French, whatever. Super basic information. There was no story about couples. There was no ages, nothing. It was super, super basic. And I remember looking through these sheets and just thinking, like, they're all the same. How am I supposed to choose on this? So I ended up choosing a couple that was Irish and Italian. Like, one was Irish and one was Italian. So the next week, because mind you, again, this was all happened within just a certain amount of time. The next week, I was supposed to meet them. So I remember dressing. I had two outfits that I wore. One was a skirt, one was a pair of pants. And I think I mentioned it in another video. But I chose the skirt because I'm meeting people and impression and everything. Not that I could really get dressed up or anything, because I was 15, 8 months pregnant. So I remember putting on the skirt and trying to look as presentable as I possibly could. And I went to therapy, and I was told that there was bad news. I was told that I would not be meeting that couple. I was told that they didn't want my mixed race baby. My daughter is half Pakistani and half Hungarian. I'm Hungarian. Her birth father is Pakistani. So she's Middle Eastern and white, Caucasian. So when I was told that, even at 15 years old, I was mortified. Now, again, in another one of my videos, I talked to you and I told you how I hated the race division. And I started to hang out with people from the town over, because it was much more, ethnically diverse. It wasn't just, white people like it was where I grew up. And and it still mortifies me to this day that they had the balls to say something like that to me. So yeah, I was told that This couple didn't want my mixed race baby, and I was told that they called everybody else in the binder and nobody else wanted this mixed race baby, and there was only one couple that would take my mixed race baby, and they wouldn't allow me to meet them. I also wasn't going to get an open adoption. I wasn't going to get anything. Nothing. This was my only option. This was my only choice. Take it or leave it. At 15 years old, with nobody there, with nobody to say anything, knowing how my parents felt about me being pregnant and not really caring, just wanting the problem to go away, I agreed. Because what else was I supposed to do? I was petrified. So I went on and I literally gave my baby to strangers because that is all that I was ever offered. I never met these people. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't know their story. I didn't know anything about them. So after giving birth and leaving the hospital, Marianne called and she wanted to let me know that she took my baby to her adoptive parents, and that during the whole car ride there, that she bawled her eyes out and screamed so loud. I remember the feeling that came over me when she told me this, and I still feel the same today. I always had this vision because remember, I had my baby for 3 days, so I knew what she looked like. And in the hospital, she didn't really cry. She fussed a little bit. Like when she was hungry, she would cry a little bit. But just the thought of her crying like that the whole way. She made a point to tell me that she cried so hard and she never stopped. Like, why? Why would you tell me that? Why would you tell me that my baby cried like that? You know, so for 28 years, I had that. I haven't had that vision since I've gotten to Reunion. But for 28 years, I would think back. And just because it's, you know, that's like the last memory. You know how, like, when somebody dies or is dying of, like, cancer or something, and like, people refuse to go see them because they don't want to remember them like that. They want to remember them happy and healthy and full of joy and stuff. Well, Marianne, literally, the last thought of my daughter, the last memory I have of my daughter is her bawling her eyes out, you know. And I remember just thinking about the car seat, her being in a car seat and just crying her eyes out and, you know. And so that's the last memory I have of my daughter. Thanks, Marianne. I appreciate that. So about a month after I had my baby, Marianne called me and she wanted to come see me. So I agreed. You know, there wasn't really any follow-up therapy or anything like that. Like, there were no appointments to, you know, help me through it or anything like that. But she called me and she wanted to come see me, so I obliged. And I remember we went and got ice cream. And we went for a drive, and this woman asked me how I was doing, and we're like, what am I going to say? You know, I'm fine. You know, like, what do you want me to say? And I remember her telling me that she is leaving Catholic Family Services because she's going to have her own baby. I don't know why she felt the need that she needed to tell me this. I don't know why. You know, you could have left it at, you're leaving Catholic Family Services, and that's it. But, you know, I was in such a deep depression that I didn't really care. Like, I was in my own world. Like I just, I was filled with grief. So, but still, like, why would you make a point to come tell me that? And after that, she ended up taking me back home, dropping me off, and I never heard from her again. That was it. So that's what happened. Now, when I met my daughter and her parents in 2019, they told me that they wanted to meet me, that they were ready to meet me. I also found out that one of them is Irish and one of them is Italian. So, putting two and two together, this was the couple that I had picked out. But the Catholic Church didn't let me meet them. Now, they also told me that they didn't really want an open adoption, but they would consider it. So I think that because they had the bag of money and I only had the commodity, the baby, the Catholic Church went with the bag of money and gave them what they wanted. And that's why they lied to me and told me that, these are the only people that would take it and they don't want to meet you. They were told by the Catholic Church or Catholic Family Services that I had found out that they had a house, a dog, and a pool, and so that was sufficient and they could have my baby. Because those things are definitely, everything that's the icing on the cake. Oh, they got a house? Great. Oh, they got a dog? Great. Yeah, take my baby here. Like, it's just, they also told me that the Catholic Church, the Catholic Family Services, told them that the reason I was giving my baby up for adoption is because I was a hopeful Olympic swimmer. Where did that come from? Like, I like to swim, but I never I like to watch TV too. So am I a hopeful actress? So the Catholic Church apparently lied to both of us. And it's just, thinking about it, it's crazy. Like, I would never let anything like that happen. Like, if anybody around me ever, went through the same thing, I would be like, no, I'm coming with you. No, let me come with you. Let me explain some things to you. Watch out for this. Watch out for that. Talk about this. Talk about this. Ask about this. Ask about that. Like, and even as it is, I will help you. I will help you find, help and resources and stuff. So, I don't know. But, yeah. So, that is how the Catholic Church coerced me into giving them my baby. I'm sure some of you could probably relate. I'm sure some of you can maybe not relate, but understand because they had the church within their adoptions too, and I don't know. But that's it. That's it for this video. I will proceed on with more different types of videos going forward. So that is my story, and I'm going to end it here for today. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.